It's all good. I'm gonna get a cigarette.
Yeah.
I think I've always used my own form as a starting point, and I think starting with the body, I feel like it's the one tool you have. Like you're born with the body. That's the one thing that you have to work with as a human being in order to express. Like everybody has a body to use to express. Ever since I can remember, even as a child, I've always questioned the connection between my body specifically, because growing up, like the being in my body and what it means to how that identifies me as a human being, and what it means internally for myself, and how that idea is projected outwardly as well. The fascination of also how the body constantly changes, even minute by minute, second by second, and also just growing up. Like we start off like coming out of a body, where we all start life through somebody else's body. The whole concept of that for me is so fascinating, and I like starting with the body as a whole, like seeing it as a frame, seeing it as something complete. And then the feeling I get, I take that image of the body, of the complete body, and I break it, and I tear it apart, and I disassemble it, and I sort of turn it inside out, visually and metaphorically. And I think somehow that gives me the feeling that I'm trying to understand the human state in a different way. I strive to find my own meaning as a human being. And I think that meaning, when you're born, you're already attached to so many different layers of meanings. From your parents to your grandparents to your great-grandparents to your ancestors. Like, oh yeah, we're from here, this is how we're supposed to be. Like, this is even as far as being women, like tied to your gender, but it's not just limited to that, essentially, right? And I think the fact that the topic really harnesses and questions the whole idea of strength in femininity is something that I'm really intimate with in my work. Yeah. Growing up in Bali, sometimes I feel like there is a sense of distance that you feel just because you're here. And because I was born and raised here, even though my heritage is mostly Javanese, I find myself like having the freedom to actually, because of the distance, to be able to kind of find a form of expression that is a little bit more detached from that. But at the same time, I have like an immense amount of curiosity about that particular part of my heritage, just because I'm completely disconnected from it, but at the same time I feel a sense of belonging. I feel like a sense of pull. I've always viewed art as a thing that I just do. I'm a strong believer of exploring many different mediums and many different facets. For me, the paintings they're like the creatures that live really deep inside, you know what I mean? They're the expression of the thing that's very raw, that I cannot compromise. But then there are so many different layers of creativity that sort of go above that, that enable me to sort of be more approachable as an artist, if that makes any sense. But I don't compromise with the painting. I wouldn't really call myself a tarot reader. Like, my process is super intuitive, and I don't over-intellectualize. I don't try to grab concepts from... I know where concepts come from, but essentially the deck helps me to find a sense of focus. So before I start a piece, I would pull a card, usually. And it's not about translating the card in any way, but it's about giving me the base and the feeling that I need, or whatever needs to be expressed is somehow there. So definitely my deck, my favorite brushes, and of course my grandmother's journal. Yeah. That's something that I don't think I can part with in my space.